Catus, Maximus here. These are the Crescent Dura-Grip. I believe they're called the LB8s. These are the cheapest sheet metal American-made pliers I've ever seen. I first saw these, I kind of just thought, well, there's just some cheesy Chinese pliers, and noticed that they are Crescents. They want $20 for these on Amazon. It's crazy. I noticed they are made in the United States with global materials using Chinese sheet steel. Theoretically, rolled steel is better because rolling steel is a forging process. You're taking a thicker piece of metal, rolling it between two giant rollers, squeezing it and crushing it down, causing it to elongate. It causes the crystalline structure to actually elongate and make sheet metal products stronger than even forged products. More or less, forging is I guess there's some debate whether sheet steel or high quality forging really is better when it's the same material, but sheet metal products are easier to deal with because you can stamp out layers. The stamping process can do all these little bends, and you just rivet it together instead of having big forging dies that you have to deal with. The second thing is this stuff can be cut and assembled with already hardened steel, so you don't need a heat treating process. So that's the deal with these. These are slip joint pliers. They just happen to have the joint more like a traditional set of pliers where you turn it, and it is an internal cam, 5 positions. They call these a box jaw style or box pliers, and I think that's just mainly due to the way this angle is here. I was a little bit confused looking up what really makes a box plier, but what I can tell you is that for 20 bucks on Amazon, having a pair of pliers that just has this kind of flexing, I mean, this is no good. These are a pair of pliers that you have to be real careful of going side to side. And what's even worse about it is they use 2 outer layers, and then they use one slightly thicker inner layer. I will say that the handles work out okay, but you know, it does have slightly curved jaws. It does have serrations, so you can turn in a fashion where you're pressing on the back handle and the jaw, so it does make it try to get or maintain its tightness when you're using it, but it's just terrible. If we take a comparison to, say, these American, the RoboGrips are actually made in America. These RoboGrips are much better because these 2 layers of steel are thicker. They use an insert in between the layers of steel. They also happen to be automatically adjusting or self-adjusting rather than manual adjusting. And they have the distinct advantage of having this extra post, which acts as a cantilever arm, making the handles much more rigid. So that's why I thought was just so cheesy. This is almost like a Crescent product that says, look, Crescent pliers made in USA, but they're, you know, they're just horrid. Certainly much less than, say, maybe these Robo or these Turbo pliers, which are just a bit of a more complex, heavier duty version of these. And really, don't get those. Get yourself just a regular set of channel locks. These will work out just fine for, you know, they have every jaw style, even if they have that annoying property where they do kind of jam up. That's just part of life with channel locks. Something like this is going to be way better. You can get yourself some Doyle Harbor Freight ones, or you can even go something a little more fancy with like pipe pliers, which work great as just general use pliers. But the big deal is you're getting forged steel. You're just getting a whole lot more material, so you get a lot more plier to actually be able to do some work. And really, the point of the story is, you know, these are lightweight pliers. I think that's their only advantage. I mean, if you're somebody for some reason who has to travel with tools on foot, motorcycle, bicycle, ATV, and there's a surprising number of people who may have to travel distance, whether you're working for the Forestry Service, rebuilding trails, all sorts of stuff like that. These may be the type of plier that will provide enough usability, enough actual strength and usability, while at the same time saving you a huge amount of weight because they are so lightweight. Otherwise, you know, get yourself a pair of vice grips. These are original heavy-duty adjustable pliers. These are not the type of thing you would want to hike around with, especially, you know, bigger 10-inch versions. So I think these are, and particularly because you can get, you know, the Harbor Freight Bremens, you can get genuine vice grips, even though they're not American-made anymore. For around the $20 range, so that's what's crazy about the price of these Crescents. These are just like a cash cow, so they can put a Made in USA sticker on it and see if they can't get some sales on what is essentially Chinese-made pliers that are stamped out and riveted in the United States. Sorry to be so harsh on these, but I just thought, my goodness, I mean, these things are just some of the cheesiest pliers. And one of the worst things is if you get these in between the little notches, like down right in the middle of this gap, you can almost feel how these two bars are starting to want to flex out. So I don't even know how long that's going to last. That's really one of the big deals about tongue and groove pliers, is that because these drive surfaces are just so huge that the pliers last absolutely forever. You'll break the pliers or bend them before any of the adjustment surfaces ever wear out. Or something like this, if you actually use it enough, you can end up jamming it, putting pressure on it where it just start wearing these out, so to the point to where it gets to the point that it basically has to be nearly closed, otherwise this little cam here will slip past. I can totally see that happening with these. Kind of like the deal with these water pump pliers here is they just give you just a bit more steel and just something more to work with. And when you have a positive engagement of the adjustment teeth, and that actually aren't relying on them both holding the jaw in position as well as being the pivot, especially when it's something this small, is why this style has become more popular, just because it's actually a reasonably good design. There really is enough steel in this tongs here to really hold up. And once again, you just get channel locks if you want something that's just a bit heavier duty. So anyway, that's the basic review of these Dura-Grip Crescent pliers. They just are hilariously cheesy and are quite frankly overpriced for something that is literally made out of 3 large pieces of sheet metal, and it appears to be 4 other small pieces of sheet metal and 4 rivets and a little sintered metal piece that they put in there, and a couple of urethane handles that they slide on. I mean, these are $5 set of pliers. American made, these would be $8 or $10 pliers. That's what they are. It's surprising how much money they want for them. Anyway, these will go in a junkyard toolbox. It's a good place for them. And like I said, the only advantage these might have for anybody is if you want like a really lightweight set of pliers that actually has a pretty big jaw opening. Anyway, I really appreciate everybody who watches and has been subscribing to my channel, as well as commenting, even though I don't get back to them as much as I should. Anyway, if you haven't subscribed, please do. Until next time, Catus Maximus out.